Hi there, and welcome back to Seeing the World Through Trifocals. I'm your host, Eileen with Sword. You know, I must confess to you that this morning, my bed felt so warm and cozy. I really couldn't think of any good reason to get up. Some days the temptation to just bury myself under the covers is almost overwhelming. For years I was up by 6 a.m. so I could, as Grandy used to say, do my morning ablutions, eat breakfast, and whether it was sunny or snowing, raining or icy, whether I felt sick or well, I would get in my car and drive in rush hour traffic for 45 minutes to do my J-O-B, and all for the purpose of making someone else look good. But even then, way back then, I had those little moments of rebellion. I did those little things that made me giggle as I walked down the hall. And I would notice that "what's she up to now" look on everyone else's faces. I could tell people didn't exactly know why, but my presence provided a little bit of uneasiness. Now, they knew I was a Christian, and often they would come to me with a prayer request, so that wasn't what scared them. No, they knew I wasn't afraid. I won't say like Flip Wilson used to claim, "the devil made me do it." No, it was all me. And I don't think God was ever angry for what I did. But I'm sure he shook his head a couple of times and told St. Peter to prepare a backup guardian angel for me. He might have even giggled, like I was doing. Take, for instance, I had a bookshelf full of Happy Meal toys. In fact, when I quit, it took 6 copy paper boxes to bring them all home. Other employees would sometimes come into my office with tension in their eyes and say, "Can I play with one of these toys for a few minutes?" I would say, of course. I'd leave the room and come back about 10 minutes later. They were gone, but the next time I passed them in the hall, they would wink at me. But it wasn't these shelf toys that I'm referring to. It was the 2 special toys I kept on my desk. One was a little red fire engine, and the other was a stuffed, anatomically correct bull my brother had bought for me at a rodeo. When my department head would come running in at the last minute with a special project, I would tell him, of course I would be glad to take on that extra project. And I would pick up my little red fire engine. It reminded me that I was called on to put out more fires at our site than the local fire department was. Now, as far as the bull, well, due to some local terrorist attacks that affected some of my peers personally, they could no longer do the part of their job of answering viewer complaints. I was asked to temporarily help out until someone else could be assigned to it. 15 years later, when I left, I was still doing it. But when I would answer the phone and hear someone ranting about some totally ridiculous, uninformed topic, such as, "During the news tonight, the newsman wore a blue tie," or "the newswoman had on a red dress. They were trying to subliminally influence the coming election." How crazy can you get? Or somebody, this was a good one, on a network show at 1:10 in the morning had said a bad word. And then the viewer had the gall to say they had to rewind and listen to it 5 times to be sure that that's what they said. I found myself wondering, why y'all testing the Jesus in me? But instead, I picked up my little gray spotted bull, rubbed its head, wiped my desk where it had been sitting, and grinned. I knew what it meant, and that was all that mattered. I've been retired since 2012, so I guess it's safe to make a few other confessions now, too. Sorry, Brian, but another thing that would help me get through the day was my department head was extremely organized. So much so that everything had a place and it was never out of its place. For example, even his pencils in his drawer all faced the same direction. When I would have to go into his office and he wasn't there, I would open his drawer, flip a couple of the pencils, close the drawer, and turn one piece of paper that was on top of the desk slightly askew. I'm sure that even after 25 years, he never figured out what was happening, but I giggled all the way to my office. Now, my greatest moment of gotcha was when the company decided to move, and it was going to greatly increase my driving time. The department heads were concerned as to how this would affect the employees, and so they were going around and asking everyone if we thought the company changing location would be a problem for us. I could, and did, with all honesty, respond when they asked me that the move would have no effect on me. You see, my husband and I had just returned from vacation, and while we were gone, I told him I was tired and I wanted to retire. I was planning on leaving in 6 months, and since the company move was over a year away, it would have no impact on me. I was totally honest. When I did retire, I had a huge retirement party. Now, I'm not sure if it was because they would miss me, or miss the toys, or be glad I was gone. Some of the newer employees, who didn't know me very well, asked me what's the first thing I would do now that I was retired. Most of the other guests grimaced at what the coming answer might be from this 68-year-old, eccentric, seemingly fearless woman. Those people already knew that on 2 previous vacations, Bill and I had hopped on his motorcycle and taken out across country. On a different vacation, we'd gone to Ecuador on a mission trip and got lost in the jungle and had to be rescued by a group of school students. I stepped up to the microphone and I said, I leave tomorrow to go to Switzerland, where I intend to climb the Alps. A few people snickered until someone in the back of the room said, she means it. I said, let me leave you with a few words of wisdom. The wisdom that got me through 25 years here. I might have shared this with you before, but it's hard to find truer words to live by. Life is not a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside, totally worn out and proclaiming, wow, what a ride! Thanks, God! Trifocals or not, do more of what makes you happy. See you next time. Have fun.